I have said many times, when they finally write the real book on rock and roll, when all the dust settles and the truth is finally told, when they get it right, one of the bands at the top of the mountain, along with all of your David Bowies and Rolling Stones, will be Joy Division. Because they are easily as great as any band that has ever existed.
Joy Division was an English post-punk band from Salford that paved the way for rock and roll and other music genres for generations to come, with their innovative noise and authentic style. Guitarist Bernard Sumner and bassist Peter Hook started the band after going to a Sex Pistols concert in 1976. They got most of their inspiration from early punk, but instead of emphasizing anger and energy, they emphasized mood and expression. In order to find this tone, they needed a singer with a unique voice. When they found Ian Curtis, everything fell into place.
She's lost control. She's lost control again. She's lost control.
I don't know. I've always felt, like I've stayed away from Joy Division because I've heard a few of their songs and I know I would really like it, and just the mystique about it and the stories that I've heard about that band. I know that's the band to listen to of all of them,
Joy Division's our group. We share similarities in the sense that they were a performance group. Their lead singer, Ian Curtis, the late Ian Curtis, had the knack of being able to express what we talked of early, being able to express what was inside of himself and bringing it out, which is, which drained him emotionally, as it should drain any singer if he believes in what he's saying.
Oh, I was called out when the going gets tough. Things you've learned now no longer enough. Well, now it's the sound, so we need to know. Synchronize love to the beat of the show. And we could dance, 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 dance to the radio. Dance, 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 dance to the radio.
With his heart-wrenching baritone voice and ominous lyrics, Ian would infamously dance on stage, often reminiscent of a seizure, completely losing control of his body and facial expressions as he contorts and spasms to the raging guitar and the droning drum beat. What's ironic is that Ian was in fact epileptic and would actually have seizures on stage if his performances became too intense for his mind to handle. The differences between the studio recordings and the live performances were massive. Their sound mixing engineer named Martin Hammett was a lunatic with an enlightened ear. He would request the band to do take after take, but rather than explicitly saying what needed to happen, he would vaguely demand, "Do it again, but this time more cocktail party," or more yellow. One time he famously asked for another take, but slower but faster. He elevated their raw, intense power into a strange, machine-like, melancholic sound.
we wanted it to sound like the Sex Pistols, the Clash, because that's what we loved. Power, the roar, It was a completely different, same songs, but a completely different feel. And if anything, I'd say that it was too mature for me.
Whether you'd hear them on stage or on the radio, a band from the 1970s making this type of sound was absolutely unheard of, and is still quite difficult for some ears to process today.
They are one of the most important groups of the last 4 or 5 years. We were in the studios with them when they recorded their single, which you probably know more than that, which is Love Will Tear Us Apart. And talking to Ian Curtis is a strange experience, or was a strange experience, because he's very warm to what we were doing. He talked, there was like two people inside of him.
Schizophrenia.
He talked very light, and he talked very, very well mannered and very polite. When he got behind the microphone, it really surged forth. Was another energy. It seemed like he was just two people, and Love Will Tear Us Apart. It was like that record was released. It was like as if there were the personalities separate. There they were, torn apart, and he committed suicide.
There are a few things, in fact nothing that I dislike more than being the bringer of bad news for you, but heard during the day that Ian Curtis of Joy Division has died, and beyond this I don't know any details about it at all, but obviously our sympathies are due to the other members of the band, but most particularly to Ian's family and friends. Thought I'd play a track from the LP anyway. This is New Dawn Fades.
On the night before the band's first major tour, on May 18th, 1980, Ian Curtis took his own life at the age of 23, leaving behind a wife and a young daughter.
Who knows what really went on that night? Who knows what really happened? He was on his own that night. He'd seen Debbie, and they'd had an argument, and then he spent most of the night on his own, and who knows what went through his head.
He'd been having relationship troubles with his wife. His drinking and smoking habits had spiraled out of control. His epilepsy was worsening, and therefore his depression worsened as well.
I'd been warned on a train to London 2 weeks earlier by Anique. I said, "What do you think of the new album?" She goes, "I'm terrified." I said, "What are you terrified of?" "Don't you understand? He means it." And I go, "No, he doesn't mean it. It's art." And guess what? He fucking meant it.
Cry like a child, though these years make me older. With children, my time is so wastefully.
The band had only released 2 albums before Ian passed. The other members didn't think it would be right to continue under the name of Joy Division without Ian, so they formed another band called New Order. And they're still making music together today. Joy Division was so influential that its unique sound went on to inspire not only rock legends, but modern-day rappers such as Tyler the Creator, Earl Sweatshirt, Danny Brown, and Vince Staples.
And their first album, Unknown Pleasures, is an absolute masterpiece. I'm right about that. Joy Division is one of the greatest bands ever.
The innovative instrumentals combined with Ian's excruciating passion and authenticity linger with the listener long after the song is over. Ian is gone, but his voice remains echoing through the night.
It's getting faster, moving faster now, it's getting out of hand. On the 10th floor down the back stairs, into no man's land. Lights are flashing, cars are crashing, getting frequent now.